Welcome, Blue Rockers. This is Blue Rock Talk, Earth's most interesting conversations. Hi, everybody. I'm Connie Willis, and tonight, Blue Rock Talk Bafflers continue. This is the part 2 of Bigfoot, of the baffler that was given to Lori Williams, who is a professional remote viewer, also a remote viewing instructor. If you're looking at taking classes, she's a lady to take. She actually gave me Basic 101. And then Lynn Buchanan gave me the other ones that I took, which were immediate and advanced and some other special ones along the way. But now Lori teaches all those because that was years back when I did it. Now she's teaching them all. She'll take care of you. In the description below, you can see how to find her. Now, the very first Bigfoot target that I gave her was when it was on Coast to Coast, and we launched Blue Rock Talk Bafflers on Coast. That was very cool to be able to do that. That was cool. So you got to hear that one, and if you are coming on this video right now and didn't get to see the first one, well, look for it here on the platform. It's definitely here. I'll put the link in the description below. But this one is, we had to do a take 2. So here it is. She did it again. She took the target of Bigfoot, and I gave her more questions, and here's the results to that. After appearing on Coast to Coast in May, Connie Willis invited me to return to Bigfoot with more remote viewing and share those findings with subscribers to her wonderful Bigfoot Friday show on Blue Rock Talk. This is a summary, and that's where she did it, by the way. She did that live on Blue Rock Talk. She went over the session, and it was fantastic. So this is a summary of my findings, information so wild it even surprised me. A lot of it is over my head, making me feel as though my intelligence level may not be high enough to really understand the full meaning. Hopefully, over time, we will all gain an understanding of these amazing, wise creatures. As you read the following report, you will see some words in parentheses. These are notes of something my monitor asked me or my own notes within the session. Remember, this is a remote viewing session. She actually has a monitor there to help lead her. It's really good when remote viewers have a monitor. In fact, it just makes the session go that much easier. Sometimes you get stuck, and the monitor can help pull you back, raise you up, go to the left, go somewhere else. It's really interesting when you learn remote viewing, all the really neat things that can happen and that you can do, but a monitor is great to have. And her monitor is her husband. He's one of the best ever. He's a really good guy. He's not giving her any, cheating notes. I mean, that's a joke. These people aren't into that kind of stuff. This is finding the answers. And if you ever want to understand remote viewing better, check the links below, because it's amazing and everybody can do it. As you read the following report, I already said that. Next. When you see quotation marks, this is information coming in that feels as though it is something coming from the source of information, whatever that happens to be. In this session, it felt as though the information was coming from the group consciousness that is Bigfoot. I also cut and pasted a sketch or two from the session itself. Now, I want to remind you that remote viewers don't always like to show their actual work because it's very private between themselves and their subconscious. They may not like their drawings. They may not like the mess. You probably won't be able to read their notes because they do even their own shorthand. So it's just a private thing. It is what it is. But for her to give us this information this way, it's a written document for us. I appreciate that because she does put the pictures in. And she does tell us everything that she found. Okay. I also cut and pasted a sketch or two from the session itself. All right, we said that. As I begin the session, once again I was overwhelmed with a pungent odor, a very strong smell, and then I had the sense of being in the presence of a very ancient, wise being. There is a sense of timelessness about Sasquatch. I am curious to know more. The words, "a wisdom you wouldn't understand," came to me. Isn't that profound? Bigfoot, or Sasquatch as I prefer to call him, is very tall. I think that's a typo. Yeah, is very tall and walks with a hulking, lumbering sort of gait, up and down through the trees and brush and densely forested areas they walk. I came to understand that these creatures love to live in humid, moist, and densely forested habitats. They tend to be more concentrated in areas that have caves, like Kentucky and Tennessee. Guess where I am? Kentucky, the biggest cave system on the planet. Very interesting. In Tennessee, right next door. They are amazingly quiet for something so large, which all of us as researchers out there, it's like, how can something that big be that quiet? Lori goes on to say, they are amazingly quiet for something so large. And we can all agree to that one, right? I feel humbled in their presence, as though they are quite superior to me. Wow. I have felt the same things when I was around them, and I can imagine that many of you have felt the same way. In fact, you've told me that. They are very special beings, and you feel the intelligence and even the peace that comes from them. Not that all of them are, and I know some of you think that, but I would just say be careful. That's all. I think they all have different personalities. Could be going through a bad day. So let's move on. One in particular feels very wise, like a wise old master of some sort. He is saddened and quite serious. I have moved, boy, that's where, I wish I was doing the session with her, so I could say, why is that one saddened? Why is it, what's going on with it? I moved to an activity and could see one of the Sasquatch making something with his hands. It appeared to be a sort of box, woven with tree bark and twigs, square on the top, coming to a point at the bottom. This receptacle can be used to gather berries, grubs, and other food. The box was beige colored, rough textured, splintery, rough, hewn. And now what she's doing is she's pulling out the nouns and the different words that came to her along the way. As I'm reading this, I'm understanding how her session is going. Sharp-edged and rather flimsy. She's describing what he was putting together. Sasquatch is quite engaged and focused as he weaves it together. The Sasquatch, which is very interesting, by the way, can you imagine if you found a basket out there? So, folks, that's something that to look for, and maybe you might be one. Now, they may take it just in the next dimension with them, or the portal through which they go and take it with them. But what if one is left behind? Interesting thought. The Sasquatch families gather in caves frequently and often sleep in caves. They enjoy the cool dampness and the protection that they find there, which is true. Who likes walking in these dark caves alone or even with anybody else? Not me. Not me at all. Besides the spiders and other crazy critters in there and insects and snakes, the next thing you come up is something big like that, even though they can be gone in an instant. It's still, maybe it's just me. The female Sasquatch gives birth to the young and breastfeeds them. She is large and lightning fast as she moves through the forest. Her breasts, large, dark, and surrounded by hair, hang low upon her abdomen. I sense her power and protective nature, similar to Patty and Bob Gimlin's find and Patterson's find. As I moved to their way of life, I could sense that they stay in the thickness of forested areas for two reasons. These areas cover and protect them. These areas contain and hide the caves that the Sasquatch depend on. They stay near the caves found in these areas, which is where the time portals exist. The doorway centers in the back of the caves, but portals occasionally appear out in open areas as well. Very interesting. So those of you that are finding these families, or these tribes, as some people like to say, that makes total sense that the portal would be close by, right? It's like you want to stay close to your getaway. If you're aliens and there's your ship, you want to stay close to the ship, right? So that's very interesting. Think about that as you're out researching. Some of you have found portals. And those of you that haven't, you might want to think a little differently with a different perspective as you go out there looking. Maybe you might find something like that. All of the time portals are connected. Very serious here. All of the time portals are connected. Monitor. Move to how the portals are connected and described. I'm very interested in this. I think you're going to find this interesting too. The portals are part of a large network. This network is much like a spider's web, a web of light. It's energetic, made of light energy. The portals are connected through time and space, connected like schools of fish are connected. Check out her sketch. That's what she saw in her mind's eye, right there. And when you do remote viewing, you will get blinks of it, and you will get, well, sometimes you bilocate right to the area. But this is what she saw, and that's an amazing picture. And here's the nouns that came to mind. These are the descriptors that she got as this was happening. Light luminance, bright, beautiful. And let me show you that as I read them. Light luminance, bright, beautiful, gorgeous. I like it. I sense they are trying to pass understanding to me. This is what she thought during this time. She sensed that the Sasquatch was trying to pass on the understanding to her. How cool is that? This is a physical representation of something intangible, not of your understanding, way over my head, connected through time and space via light energy. She says, I can't explain it. What is light energy? Waves. These are the things that are going through her mind, and she's writing them down as it's happening. Spiraling downward, representing time, space, interdimensional portal. Monitor. Move to the like a school of fish and describe. Lori asked herself, how is the connection like a school of fish? This is what she got from there. Fish are connected through a common consciousness that you would call group consciousness. The web of connection is group consciousness. It is very much like the connections within the human brain. Synopsis. Monitor. Are you saying the web is like consciousness, or consciousness is like the web? And here's the answer to that. The web is consciousness. It is like a giant brain. The portals are like dendrites and synapses, neurons that carry signals and allow travel to other parts of the web, which is the key to the time travel aspect of the Sasquatch. The portals and the web are a one. They are part of a oneness consciousness, and the Sasquatch are joined to the consciousness like, and this part stopped, and then this is what came to her. Sasquatch is to the web like neurons are to the brain. The neurons are not the brain, but they travel within the brain and are part of the brain. Sasquatch are all interconnected like the school of fish. They have a group consciousness within the greater consciousness. The portals are openings in the consciousness. They are not the consciousness themselves. The web is the consciousness. It is all a part of a bigger picture. Web of consciousness, which is light energy, with openings we call portals, like doorways to hallways made of light. Let that sink in for a minute. The Sasquatch are like neurons that can travel on the web of light, through the portals, through the doorways, down the hallways, and they are like chutes and ladders. Remember that game? One hallway leads to a chute, which suddenly drops Sasquatch into a new location. Monitor then at that point says, hey, can anyone use these portals, or do you have to be of a certain consciousness to utilize them? Incredible question. I'm so glad that was asked. There is a feeling of destiny involved. The web is like God consciousness. If you were to happen upon a portal accidentally, you were meant to be there. Those of you out there that have come across portals, and you know that you have, what she says from what she's getting is, it's not accidental, you were meant to be there. How cool is that? Others might be in the cave and never notice the portal. They could walk past it, even touch the wall, and it wouldn't be there for them. Notice she said wall, touch the wall. She talked to the portal as a wall. She also said that you're either meant to see it or not. And if you're not, you'll walk right past it. That's really cool. Number one, take a look at this sketch. This sketch is representative of a visual that is blue and black, sparkly, spinning, and very dark. So let's imagine that. Blue and black, sparkly, spinning, and very dark. Also, rocky, hard, and volcanic. Huh. Lori goes on to say, I am in awe. Sasquatch sees the portal. We wouldn't. He is part of it, so his vision and reality are tuned in, and ours is not. It's almost like an energetic bond or frequency. At this point, she says, I took a break, and when I resumed, I found myself in a dark, shadowy location, seemingly deep within the earth. Reds, rust, and browns amid blackness. The monitor at that point says, move to the method of communication between the Sasquatch. They seem so silent. Again, I sense the like a school of fish analogy. Through love, communication is strongly bonded, silently, mentally, all facilitated through the web of consciousness. This was a quote. Very interesting stuff. The monitor once again jumps in and says, can humans communicate with Sasquatch? The answer, and a lot of us know this already, some of us, I do, yes. Humans are on a different level, on separate frequencies. It requires some tuning in. Dimensional beings communicate frequently. It is a collective consciousness. Words are not needed. Language is archaic, slow, and easily misunderstood. Yes, especially texting, right? Collective consciousness is instant, clear, and always understood very fully and completely. I believe that. when I have gotten the mind speak, and any of you guys have gotten mind speak, or even outside the Bigfoot world, when you've heard some voice talk to you, you don't know how it came to you. You can't even describe it. However, the message is there, and it's always 100,000% true, isn't it? It's amazing, isn't it? And it's extremely wise. That's how I can describe it. So the monitor at this point says, move to the communication between human to Sasquatch and describe. Much more difficult because of difference in consciousness while humans inhabit a denser life form. So the monitor then says, some humans fear Sasquatch. Is there a reason to fear? No. Sasquatch is gentle and just wants to be left alone. They were here first. They regard humans as a dangerous species that they prefer to avoid. Some humans who are more highly evolved may achieve a connection, sort of a plugging into the collective. This can be achieved through meditation, remote viewing, and other forms of intuitive arts. So this is what she is picking up. It's not what they're saying to her. This is what she's gathering because how she's got it in. They were here first. It didn't say I was here first. The Sasquatch know when a kinder form of human is near and when they have no need to fear, because they can tap into our consciousness more easily than we can theirs. It's like the saying when people say, hey, look, if you're going to go out there searching and you want to see one, don't bring a gun. And where some people say, hey, I got to bring a gun just in case a jaguar or something comes my way. Well, and I agree with this, where people will say, well, the Sasquatch will not show itself if you have a gun. They're just not going to. I think a Sasquatch will still show itself to you if they want, and you have a gun, because they would understand that your intent is to only use the gun out of some other creature that may plunge onto you as opposed to them. I think they already know that. So I think people would be safe that way. That's just my thought. Some of you may or may not agree. Please comment in the comments below. I would like to hear that. So the monitor then says, move to the culture of the Sasquatch and describe. Hunter-gatherer type, but more plant-based and grub insect-based. Interesting. Interesting. I've heard that from some people. So it's interesting to hear this. The culture is different and hard for humans to understand because it is based on a collective consciousness rather than on human cultures, which are based on upbringing, belief systems, education, etc. Humans vary due to their various backgrounds. Sasquatch are one and part of a greater web of consciousness. Monitor, do they have jobs, currency, technology? No. Sasquatch are one. Their technology is the ability to move from dimension to dimension through time. Yeah, that would be incredible. They live peacefully and united with each other and are not violent. They share all things, food, love. They live in families and communities based on location and family bonds, but their ability to move through time changes their location in time frequently. They are not attached to one place in time. So possessions are not an issue. They live peacefully and have abundance through their diet and their love of family. They have no concept of a God because they feel connected to the one that they are a part of. And maybe that one is a God, but they don't call it God. Maybe that's our God. This is where it gets deep, profound. This is where we need your thoughts, or I would like to know your thoughts and comments below. Monitor asks another question. Move to the glyphs and describe their connection, if any, to Sasquatch. Love this one. Listen up, folks. Glyphs are an art form created by Sasquatch, like our calligraphy. And they do have meaning. They leave them for other Sasquatch as reminders and information in that space and time. These glyphs provide guidance and help to other Sasquatch who arrive in that location. The glyphs are like placeholders and information. Now, I find that extremely incredible because many of you have found these things. I've even seen them before too. A lot of you believe that they are communicating with you and you are communicating back and forth with these different changes. And maybe that's true. You know, she's getting information here and you guys are feeling you have a connection as well and that you are communicating with them. I'm not saying that they don't communicate with you on those, but just stop and think, what if that is true, that it's really for other ones that come through that portal at a different time to get some direction, some guidance of what's going on out there. Maybe it says, hey, there's some nincompoop human out there that continues to feed me grapefruit. That's okay, but try the chocolate next to it. You know what I'm saying? So it might be better to leave theirs alone and make a separate one for you to send to them, and maybe not touch the ones that you see and, pull them apart. I heard recently, actually, from Sasquatch, from Squatchman. You've seen him before here on Blue Rock Talk. But Squatchman said that recently he went out to some glyphs and one of his buddies picked up a rock from a glyph and got zapped. That really pulls that together with what is being said here by Lori. Because maybe, that tells the entrance of something, or is something that needed to be left there for the next person that came through, or the next Sasquatch that came through to get that. And it was important that they got that piece of information. Maybe it was there's 5 humans going by and they all have guns and they're waiting around and they're just hoping to pop one of us. You just don't know. You just don't know. Or don't eat this one apple, or what, I don't know. Anything. It could be anything. And maybe it was important to where, hey, if you pick that up, you will get zapped. I don't know. I'm just saying. Or maybe that was close, that was by the portal. Maybe that was the door to the portal. But think about that. Keep that in mind. Tell me what you think about that. Back to the monitor again, move to the origination of Sasquatch and describe. Like humans, Sasquatch was seated here millions of years ago. Is that not interesting? Like humans, Sasquatch was seated here millions of years ago. Amazing. Humans are relatively new to this planet. Sasquatch has been here for millennia, even longer, and exists on other planets as well. Planets that have moist, humid, thickly forested habitats. That is what they like. That's why they got that smell. Very interesting. Like humans, Sasquatch was seated. Monitor. Are they working with the military? I asked that question. I put that question down because a lot of you have told me that you have seen or heard that they were working with the military. This was the answer. Lori. I heard that somewhere, but I don't feel that. That's it. Sasquatch are extremely shy and want to be left alone. They do help out lost hikers and native peoples, for example. The military is completely incongruent to their lifestyle of peace and love. They are quiet and silent and thrive from their togetherness in a species. Humans' violent nature and tendency to cut down their habitats, waste, abuse, arrogance, sense of superiority is seen as so foreign, unusual, strange, abhorrent, violent, sad, unnecessary, and most of all, threatening and dangerous. There's your answer to that. Monitor. Okay, can you move to Sasquatch's eyes and describe? This is where I wanted to know about the colors. A lot of people see that they see red eyes, green eyes, yellow eyes, and I wanted to get that. Now, because there's another monitor asking these questions, sometimes when they get answers, because even he doesn't know anything about the different colors of the eyes and how people describe them with the eye shine. So he couldn't get in as deep as I would have if I was there, but here's the answer they got. Lori. I'm having trouble with that. I see honey-colored eyes during the day. At night, the eyes are bright, allowing for better night vision. So we got a great answer. And that makes total sense. They're bright at night, allowing for better night vision. But as most of you guys want to know, does the red mean anything different than the green, different from the yellow, from the amber? So maybe in the future I can get to talk to her about this, or we can find that out at another time. It may be just different color eyes, and they're just brighter, the intensity, or, maybe that's just the color of their eyes. And when they're bright, that's what you see. Like we have blue and brown and hazel. But better night vision. Monitor, is there a message to humanity? So here we go with this one again. I sense that the Sasquatch bears no ill will to humans and would welcome humanity to embrace the web of consciousness that allows us all to share a common desire for life. Truly living is the key, leaving behind the constant striving for possessions and power and recognition and approval in order to be part of something much bigger and more wonderful. End of session. So there you have it. That was the take 2 on the Bigfoot after doing it first when we launched Blue Rock Talk Bafflers on Coast, which you can find here. We go over the session here on Blue Rock Talk. The link is below. This was the part 2 to that, take 2 to that. And she did it again and went deeper. I got to ask her more questions. So this is a Blue Rock Baffler, and that's what it's all about. Lori Williams, who all her information is in the description below, how you can get a hold of her and even learn remote viewing yourself. She is a professional remote viewer, and she is also an instructor of remote viewing. So at an 87% accuracy rate, this is what she did with the target Bigfoot. We will have plenty more of these for you, and I'm looking forward to that happening here, so be on the lookout, okay? In the meantime, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Please share it with other people. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that I can keep this going. So thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate your time. Again, please throw any comments, thoughts, theories in the comments below. Like it and subscribe if you haven't already. In the meantime, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Blue Rockers. Rock on.